The sky above Tarsus Prime burned red as pirate ships rained fire upon the helpless colony. In the chaos, a boy barely 7 years old stood defiant, armed with nothing but a metal pipe and the fury of a dying world. When the alien captain faced him, he didn't laugh. He saw something far more dangerous than fear. He saw humanity. What followed wasn't a tale of conquest, but transformation. From that fire was born the legend of Kyle Morrison, the human who made the galaxy remember why it should fear us. If stories of unstoppable human spirit, alien wars, and impossible odds ignite something in you, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with fellow sci-fi fans. Because today we're diving deep into one of the most powerful HFY sagas ever told, where one boy, E.S. Defiance, rewrote the fate of pirates, empires, and entire stars. The skies over Tarsus Prime burned crimson that night, not the glow of sunset, but of death. Pirate ships tore through the clouds, their plasma cannons painting the horizon with streaks of fire. Below, the mining colony that had once echoed with the hum of drills and the laughter of workers now trembled beneath sirens and screams. The pirates had come for ore, for wealth, for whatever they could strip from a dying world. But what they found instead was a boy. His name was Kyle Morrison, 7 years old, orphaned last winter when a mine collapse buried his parents under tons of rock and silence. Since then, he'd lived alone in a prefab shelter barely held together by rust and stubbornness. He should have been hiding when the first explosions hit, like the others did. But something in him refused to run. While men screamed and droids malfunctioned, Kyle stood in his doorway, gripping a bent metal pipe like it was Excalibur. His face was streaked with soot, his chest rising and falling with fury. The colony's defenses were already in ruins. Old security drones shattered, militia volunteers burned out within minutes. The pirates laughed as they plundered freely through the streets. And in the middle of that madness stood one small, defiant shadow. "They can't just take everything," Kyle muttered through gritted teeth. The sound of heavy boots echoed closer. Alien boots. Then came their voices, rough, mocking, and strange. They spoke galactic common, but their laughter carried the cold rhythm of predators that had never been denied anything. "Look what we have here," one sneered. A towering figure stepped out of the smoke, his skin a deep shade of blue, his eyes glowing like liquid steel. Behind him, others emerged. Massive humanoids with scarred bodies, fanged grins, and armor that shimmered with alien runes. Weapons hummed in their hands, each one capable of vaporizing a human in a blink. "A human whelp thinks he can fight us?" the alien said, amusement dripping from every syllable. The others laughed. Kyle didn't. Instead, he screamed, a sound raw and primal enough to silence their laughter for a heartbeat. Then he charged, swinging his pipe at the alien's knee with all the strength his tiny body could muster. The impact was useless, more noise than damage, but the motion itself stopped them cold. There was no hesitation in his strike, no fear in his eyes, just rage. He swung again and again, screaming through the smoke, through the fear, through everything that made sense. "This is our home. Get out. Get out." For the first time, the pirates didn't laugh. Even monsters recognize something sacred when they see it. Then came the voice that silenced them all. Enough. The raiders parted like soldiers before a king. Out of the haze stepped a figure taller than the rest, broad-shouldered, armored in gunmetal plates that caught the firelight. His hair was white as frost, braided with silver bands. His skin shimmered with cerulean tones that shifted subtly with each step, and his eyes, cold, calculating, held the stillness of deep oceans. This was Captain Draylock, the most feared name in the Outer Rim. He stopped before the boy. Kyle didn't flinch. "Put down the weapon, human," Draylock said softly. Kyle spat on the ground. "I'm not afraid of you." For a second, the alien captain said nothing. Then, to everyone's surprise, he smiled. Not mockingly, but with the faintest glint of respect. "What's your name, child?" he asked. "Kyle Morrison," the boy said, his voice trembling but steady. And you're stealing from my people. Draylock deactivated his plasma sword with a flick, the energy fading into silence. You have more courage than most grown warriors I've met, he said. He studied the boy's face, then added quietly, Tell me, what will you do if I leave you here? Your parents are gone. Your world is dying. Kyle's jaw clenched. I'll survive. I always do. The captain nodded slowly. Then he turned to his crew. Change of plans, he said. We're taking the boy. The pirates exchanged uneasy glances. Captain? One asked, disbelief in his voice. Draylock gestured toward Kyle, who stood there panting, his knuckles white around his pipe. That fire, that will. Imagine what he could become with proper training. Kyle swung again, this time at Draylock's leg. The captain caught the pipe mid-strike, wrenching it effortlessly from the boy's grip. You have two choices, Kyle Morrison, Draylock said. Stay here and die on this forgotten rock, or come with me. Learn, fight, become something greater. Kyle spat at him. I'll never be like you. Draylock's grin widened, sharp and gleaming. No, you'll be far more dangerous. And before the boy could resist, the captain lifted him off the ground. Kyle kicked, screamed, clawed, but it was no use. The pirate carried him toward the ship, through the wreckage of his home, past the burning ruins that once held everything he knew. The engines roared to life. The colony grew smaller, swallowed by clouds and distance. From the viewport, Kyle saw the last flicker of his world, a glowing ember fading into the endless black. And in that moment, he made himself a promise. He would never forget this night. He would never forgive them. And one day, the galaxy would learn what it meant to make an enemy of a human. Space. Cold. Silent. Infinite. For Kyle Morrison, it felt less like a wonder, and more like a prison. The stellar Ravager, Captain Draylock's warship, carved through the void like a blade. Its engines glowed cobalt, its hull scarred from countless raids. Inside, metal corridors hummed with alien voices, and every shadow hid something watching. Kyle had been aboard for weeks now. He had stopped counting days when the ship left the known trade lanes and entered the darkness between systems. His small quarters, a converted storage compartment, smelled of oil and metal. No window, no stars, no sense of time, only anger. He refused to eat. He refused to speak. But he never stopped watching. The pirates thought he was just a child, broken, harmless. They were wrong. Captain? Came a gruff voice one morning. The human whelp tried to stab Gorn with a food utensil today. Draylock didn't look up from the hollow map hovering over his desk. Is Gorn dead? Nearly offended, the alien replied with a snort. You want me to discipline the boy? Draylock leaned back in his chair, a faint smile ghosting across his sharp features. No. Leave him. His second-in-command, Tex, a lean cerulean with electric blue markings across his face, frowned. He's a liability, Captain. We should space him and be done with it. Patience, old friend, Draylock said. Wild beasts aren't tamed in a day. Then what is he, Captain? A pet? Draylock's icy gaze lifted to Tex. No, he said quietly. He's an investment. On the 32nd day, Draylock opened the boy's cell himself. Kyle sat huddled in the corner, thin, hollow-eyed, but still burning with that same quiet fury. The captain dropped a folded bundle on the floor. Put these on, he said. Kyle didn't move. You stink worse than a Targonian swamp beast, Draylock continued, crossing his arms. You have two choices, boy. Join my crew and learn to survive among the stars, or continue your rebellion until you rot in this box. Kyle glared. I hate you. Draylock's smile deepened. Good. Hate is an excellent motivator. Channel it properly and it becomes power. Be on the training deck in 1 hour. Show me your hatred or stay here and die with it. 59 minutes later, the doors to the training deck hissed open. Kyle walked in. Wearing the gray tunic and pants Draylock had given him, The boy looked smaller than ever in the circular arena surrounded by armored ceruleans. The captain stood in the center, unarmed except for a rod at his hip. "You came," Draylock said. "I want to learn how to kill you," Kyle answered. The pirates around them chuckled, but Draylock only nodded. "Good. Honesty is the foundation of strength." He tossed Kyle a metal training rod. "Let's see what you can do." It wasn't a fight. It was a lesson in pain. Within moments, Kyle was on the ground, gasping for air, his weapon clattering across the floor. Draylock hadn't drawn his sword. He didn't need to. Every time Kyle swung, the captain deflected, redirected, countered, teaching without words. "Rage without technique is useless," Draylock said, helping the boy to his feet. "I'll get better," Kyle panted. "I expect nothing less." And then it began again. Days blurred into weeks, weeks into months. Kyle attacked every session with savage determination. He learned to block, to anticipate, to endure. Bruises became badges, pain became language, and somewhere in that endless cycle of fury and exhaustion, something changed. Hatred became focus, focus became discipline, discipline became purpose. By the third month, Kyle landed his first clean hit, a strike to Draylock's knee that made the pirate captain actually stumble. The watching crew fell silent. Draylock rubbed his leg, then smiled. "Well done, boy. You're learning." That night, Kyle was moved out of the storage compartment and into a proper bunk. It wasn't luxury, but it was acknowledgement. For the first time, the crew began to see him differently, not as a captive, but as a potential warrior. Some still whispered dirt blood behind his back. Others simply nodded when he passed. And Draylock watched it all, quietly pleased. 6 months after his capture, Kyle stood beside the captain on the observation deck. Beyond the glass stretched a nebula of violet gas, glowing like liquid fire. "Why me?" Kyle asked suddenly. "Why take me when you could have taken slaves, soldiers, anyone?" Draylock poured 2 cups of amber liquid and handed one to him. "I've conquered worlds," he said. "Fought warriors from 100 species, but do you know what I've rarely seen?" Kyle shook his head. "True resilience. The kind that burns brightest when everything else has been taken away. Humans have it. You, especially." Kyle tasted the drink and nearly choked as it burned down his throat. Draylock chuckled softly. "You're weak," Kyle muttered. "Not weak," Draylock corrected. "Unrefined. But that will change." He gestured toward the stars. "You will become something this galaxy has never seen before. A human forged in fire, sharpened by war." Kyle stared out at the endless void. He didn't answer, but inside something stirred, something that felt dangerously close to belief. And that was the beginning of something the galaxy would never forget. From an orphan boy on a dying planet, to the prodigy of the most feared pirate in known space. But what happens when the human spirit begins to outshine even the master who tried to shape it? In the next chapter, we'll see Kyle Morrison evolve, from student to strategist, from survivor to legend. If you're enjoying this journey through the HFY universe, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this story with other sci-fi lovers. Because trust me, what's coming next? It's going to challenge everything the galaxy thought it knew about humanity.